Good morning, New Vintage. We're so excited that you guys can tune in to us this morning. I know I missed you, we missed you. We're just so happy to be able to get together virtually, and we are going to listen to some music from Jimmy and Jeff in a few minutes and hear an amazing message from Darren. We would also like to be able to get together with you guys throughout the week, 12 o'clock Monday through Friday on all of our social media platforms. We are just getting together for a little bit of prayer and connection, so you'll definitely want to check that out. This Friday is Good Friday, so we're going to get together and just reflect and be together as a church family. We're going to take communion together also, and if you're wondering how that's going to happen, check out our website, and there should also be an email that you will be getting as well, so make sure that you're looking out for that. And then Sunday, we are still going to celebrate in a big way, as we should, for Easter Sunday. So we cannot wait to see you guys and just be able to celebrate together as a church family in our new normal.
There were walls between us. By the cross you came and broke them down. You broke them down. There were chains around us. By your grace we are no longer bound. No longer bound. You called me out of the grave. You called me into the light. You called my name and then my heart came alive. Your love is greater, your love is stronger, your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater, your love is stronger, your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Feel the darkness shaking, all the dead are coming back to life, back to life. Hear the song awaken, all creation singing, we're alive. This is your life. You call me out of the grave, you call me into the light. You called my name and then my heart came alive. Your love is greater, your love is stronger, your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater, your love is stronger, your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. And what a love we found, death can't hold us down. We shout it out, we're alive, 'cause you're alive. And what a love we found, death can't hold us down. We shout it out, we're alive, 'cause you're alive. And what a love we found, death can't hold us down. We shout it out, we're alive, 'cause you're alive. Your love is greater, your love is stronger, your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater, your love love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love awakens me. Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love awakens me. Amen. When he told you you're not good enough, when he told you you're not right, when he told you you're not strong enough, put up a good fight. When he told you you're not worthy, when he told you you're not loved, when he told you you're not beautiful, but you'll never be enough. Fear is a liar. He will take your breath, stop you in your step. Fear is a liar. He will rob your rest, steal your happiness, cast your fears in the fire. 'Cause fear, he is a liar. When he told you you were trouble, if you'll ever be alone, when he told you you should run away, never find a home, when he told you you were dirty, and you shouldn't be ashamed, when he told you you could be the one that grace could never change. Oh, fear, he is a liar. He will take your breath, stop you in your steps. Fear, he is a liar. He will rob your rest, steal your happiness, cast your fear in the fire. 'Cause fear, he is a liar. Let your fire fall and cast out all my fears. Let your fire fall, your love is all I feel. Let your fire fall and cast out all my fears. Let your fire fall, your love is all I feel. Let your fire fall and cast out all my fears. Let your fire fall, your love is all I feel. Let your fire fall and cast out all my fears. Let your fire fall, your love is all I feel. Fear, he is a liar. You take your breath, stop you in your steps. Fear, he is a liar. You rob your rest, steal your happiness, and cast your fears in the fire. 'Cause fear, he is a liar. liar. Fear, he is a liar. Oh, fear, he is a liar. Well, amen. And that is the truth. So I wrote a song last Sunday, and I'm working on it with Jackson Allen right now. And it's just kind of in light of what's going on right now was the inspiration. And so hopefully you like it. It's brand new, so if I don't get it right, then it is what it is. It seems to me the road is long, seems to me there ain't no end in sight. Getting through it day to day, but this just ain't no ordinary fight. And I've seen better days, but I haven't lost my way. Ooh. Where you gonna run to now? Where you gonna put all of your faith? Which path will you follow now? He didn't say all of them would be straight. And I've seen better days. My way. I know that I ain't finished yet. I know that there will be a better time. Just waiting for the sun to rise, wipe the tears and hold my hands up high. And I've seen better days. But I haven't lost my way. Oh, I've seen better days. Oh, and I will never lose my way. Well, amen. There it is. I hope you like it. Should be released in about maybe a month, 3 weeks. So, and we'll let you know if you're interested in, checking it out and getting it. Then we'll let you know where and how and when and why and all that good stuff. But thanks for tuning in this morning, Jimmy. Anything?
Well, New Vintage, thank you for worshiping with us. We love you guys so much, and we miss seeing your faces here. But it's good to connect with you here this way. Part of supporting local is supporting your local church. So I want to encourage you, if you call this church your home, we'd like you to go to newvintage.org and please contribute there, just so we can keep going the life change that is happening here at New Vintage. So right now we've got a message from Darren, so check it out.
What's up, New Vintage and friends? I hope you're good. I hope you didn't get dressed up for this morning. Quick raise your hand and just tell me, how many of you are still wearing right now what you wore to bed last night? Some of you are, aren't you? Some of you probably aren't even wearing pants. That just got somebody who's not wearing pants right now. You're thinking, how does he know? Well, I just assumed that you're keeping it casual this morning, and maybe you're thinking to yourself, this is how church should be all the time. Maybe we shouldn't have to wear pants. I shouldn't go there. That's a little strange, I assume. But I think we'd miss each other, though. I mean, if this is how church was all the time, I think we'd miss each other. Though I think that probably in this season of being at home and watching online, we're probably going to discover some ways to connect with and encourage each other for the long haul. So there could be a lot of good that we learn from this season. But honestly, talking to a camera right now in a lonely room is not as much fun for me as it is to be connected with you and building relationships. And so I really hope that this is not how we do church forever. And I don't think it will be. I think we'll be back together at some point, which is an exciting thing. I want to start with a couple of just business things real quick, just important things to get started with. I want to find out from you guys. Raise your hand if you've been watching Tiger King. You have, haven't you? This is how bored we are. We are watching the Tiger King episode after episode. I'd love to admit that I'm not watching Tiger King, but the truth is I am watching Tiger King. And that brought to my mind actually a thought of just, I wonder how many cat people we have watching right now. Raise your hand if you're a cat person, or if you can comment that you are a cat lover and you love cats. See, the world is divided on cats, aren't they? You either love them or you hate them. I mean, it's one way or the other. Personally, I'm afraid of cats. And so maybe you're not watching Tiger King. Maybe you're binge watching something else. My kids have been watching Nailed It, the show where a professional baker makes something and then the novices try to recreate it themselves, and it's terrible. It's a great show, but not the 19th time that you've seen each episode. It's not really that great anymore. So I'm tired of that. But I hope you're doing well. Really, honestly, my name is Darren, and it is honestly a privilege for me to be able to encourage you in this format this morning. So whether you're wearing pants, whether you're watching in the morning, the afternoon, or the evening, welcome to New Vintage. We're glad that you're here and participating and checking this out. We're going to have a great time. Now, I know that there's been some bad news, obviously, and we've maybe had enough bad news, so I thought I'd start with a little good news from the Youngstrom household. This week, my 5-year-old and my 6-year-old learned to ride their bikes without training wheels, which is really good news for my back. I was getting tired of holding that thing and running down the street. I couldn't take it anymore, so it was exciting because one of them was falling a lot, and I thought she was going to have a hard time, and she tends to give up. But she didn't give up, and she kept going, and she fell a few times. She drove into a parked car and fell over, but she got back up and kept going, and they figured it out. And then I went to Walmart, and I bought them new helmets because probably not the safest thing in the world. Don't judge me. Don't judge me for that. Some more good news. While I was at Walmart, I also discovered frozen tilapia. I don't know what you're eating out there. I don't know what you're storing, but I don't even eat fish very often, okay? So this is why it's good news. I don't eat fish that often, but I was in hoarder mode one day, at the grocery store, like we've been lately, where it's just like I have to get everything. There's not going to be any more meat in America. I've got to get all that I can. I was like, a pack of 40 frozen tilapia. Let me get one of those. So I got that, and I thought, well, maybe I'll eat it. I don't know. I started taking it out the other day and thawing it out and cooking it every night with a little lemon juice. Oh my gosh, it's delicious. Are you a tilapia eater? Have you been holding out on me and not telling me how delicious this is? I can't get my wife to eat it yet, but I will. The other day I threw it into some tacos, some fish tacos. I'm telling you, everybody loves tacos, and it was delicious. So we are surviving. I hope you're surviving. Maybe if you can comment, whether watching on YouTube or Facebook or a live stream, if you can comment, tell us some good news from your life. Like what good is happening? What foods have you discovered? What family fun are you having? What are some things that are good in your world right now? I know we feel so stuck. We feel like every day is bad news. Like we just can't get a break. It's never going to end. Doom, doom, doom. And so if you're like me, you need some good news today. And so that's why I'm calling this message Good Vibes. We need good vibes right now, and I want to call this Good Vibes. And here's what I want us to wrestle with today. Here's what I want us to think about. Here's what I want us to kind of take some time and just kind of walk through together. It's this question. What if God really is the source of good vibes? Like, what if he's the source of joy in this life? What if God is the source of happiness and contentment? What if God is the source of that? And I know what you're thinking probably, it's like, okay, well, it's a little early in the message, Darren, for the, hey, Jesus makes us happy. Let's get out there and get it. No, let's not get out there. Let's stay inside and hustle. Jesus is going to make you happy, guys. Have a great week. That's like a Jesus juke right there at the top of the message. And maybe that's too easy, too simple. Like, hey guys, Jesus makes you happy, so let's have a better week this week. If you're like me listening to this, I would take that and go, not buying it. You're gonna have to sell me on that idea because I'm not so sure. You don't know the week I had. You don't know the stuff I'm walking through. You don't know the challenges that we're facing. You don't know. Jesus hasn't made this week good for me. It's been a challenging week, and I totally get that. But what if he was the source? And so that's what I want to wrestle with today. The truth is we look for joy and good vibes in a lot of places. Let me ask you, as you just think through this with me, when you hear the term good vibes, what do you think? What do you think about when you hear the term good vibes? Maybe you think of parties. Maybe you think of victories. Maybe you think of like concerts and music and feeling good, or maybe it's just happiness. Maybe it's joy. What are the good vibes what do you think of when you hear the term good vibes? I think for a lot of us, we want good vibes. That's really what we want. And in fact, all of us, we want good vibes. We don't want bad vibes. We don't want a terrible life. I mean, nobody's out there, hoping that the sad train runs through their life and it's like, you know what I want? I just want to be miserable. I want my life to be in the crapper, and I just want whatever I can do to destroy my life. That's what I want. Now, some people have destroyed their lives, but in the beginning, they didn't want to destroy their lives. Their question was, how can I be happy? How can I get good vibes? How can I be full of joy? I want my life to be content, and I want the best life. I want a good life. That's what we all chase. The decisions we make, they're all based on how can I be happy? How can I be full of joy and contentment? We do things that we think will make us happy. And honestly, if you look at my life, if you were to follow me around, if I'm really honest with you, there are times when it would be very difficult for me to prove to you that I believe that God is the source of my happiness, of my joy. I could say that he is, but if you follow me around, if I followed you around, I bet it would be hard oftentimes for us to prove to people that we believe that's true. The other day I was talking to a teenager, and he called me. He's like, hey, we need to meet. I'm having a hard time. So we met up at the Christian Chicken, the Chick-fil-A, and we started talking. And he starts explaining that he used to live this one kind of life where he made decisions with substances, and he wasn't satisfied or content. And so then he went on this mission trip, and it changed his life. And then he went and worked at a Christian camp, and he met Christian friends, and he started dating this girl who had different, positive Christian beliefs, and it was like all good. And he was like, my faith was awesome. I was like, God is the source of my contentment and my joy. And here we were 6 months later, and he was saying, I'm not so sure anymore. I've gotten some distance from those friends. The mission trip seems like a memory now. I'm connecting with some old friends, and honestly, I don't know if it's worth it. I said, are we meeting here today? Did you want me to try and convince you that God is worth it? Is that why we're meeting? And he said, yeah, I think that's kind of why I wanted to talk to you. And his point, what he was really saying was, he was saying, Darren, I want to be happy. I just want to be happy, and I'm not sure that God is the source of my happiness. Have you ever been there before? Are you there now? Maybe some of you listening used to think that he was, and you're now wondering. Maybe some of you have never thought about God as a source of happiness, of contentment, of good vibes, of joy. But that's what I want to wrestle with. Is he? How do we know? See, I think all the decisions that we make because we want to be happy. We do things to try and make ourselves happy. I do this with food. Maybe you do this with food. For me, if I get in a fight with my wife, or if I am feeling sad or discouraged or depressed, you know what I do? I run to my good friend Tombstone Pizza and a 2-liter of Coke. I love it. That is my happy place. I mean, when I'm down, when I'm sad, Tombstone and Coca-Cola, they've got my back, you know? I mean, I've educated myself that if I need a quick jolt of happiness, a jolt of joy, all I have to do is turn to Tombstone and Coca-Cola. It'll give me that instant feedback of joy. Now, it doesn't last because I'm like, oh, why did I eat that? I don't feel good. That was a wrong decision. But in the moment, I've been educated that for just a moment, it can pump me full of joy. I wonder what yours are. I wonder what you've educated yourself that works for you. You don't have to comment about these. These might be a little more personal. But is there something that you've educated yourself that if I just go to this thing, if I run to this thing, it's going to make me happy for a minute? It's going to give me a boost of good vibes. It's going to kind of make me feel for just a moment that everything's okay. And there's some things that that's no good with, and there's other things that it's really a problem with, and that's not really my point. The point is that we do this with all kinds of stuff. We run to all kinds of things that we think will make us happy. We run to popularity. We run to status. We run to likes on an Instagram account. We run to how cool do I look to people. We run to success. Do I have more than they have? We run to material possessions. Is my car nicer than their car? What do people think about me when I walk down the runway? We go to looks, like do I look pretty enough? Do I look handsome enough? Am I strong enough, big enough? Do I have what it takes to impress people? We turn to substances. We turn to all kinds of vices and addictions. We turn to being the person who's in the know. If I know everything, if I know all the gossip, then that's going to make me feel good. We turn to all kinds of things that we think will give us the good vibes we're looking for. And we all know the game. We're all looking for happiness. We're all looking for joy. I mean, we know the mission. The mission is do what it takes to be happy. That's the mission. Whatever I can do that makes me feel happy, that makes me feel joy, I want to be content. I want to be joyful. I want to be full of peace and happiness and all the good vibes. What do? We all know the mission, which is crazy because so many people are miserable. Like we know what we're looking for, we know what we want, and yet so many of us find ourselves wanting and lacking in this thing we're looking for. Why is that? Why is it that we know what we want, but we can't seem to find it, so we end up miserable? Or we end up with just a life that's like, it's not that great. I just feel a little empty. I feel a little less than. I feel like I don't have really what I'm looking for. I think the reason is because we're looking in the wrong places. We're looking for this thing we want, but we're not finding it because we're not looking in the right place. And I want to read you one very short passage. I'm not even going to read it. I'm just going to tell it to you. A very short passage from Psalm. And this was written by a guy named David. Now, David was in quarantine long before we were in quarantine. He was a guy he was like a forgotten brother, and then eventually he was picked to be the next king. But in the waiting, the current king wanted him killed, and so he chased him into the wilderness, into caves, where David was quarantined for some time. And his life was threatened, and he didn't know if he would live. He didn't know what would happen. He had no idea if he would ever become king. Now, we know that he became king. But for that season of his life, it must have been a lot like where we are now, where it was like, when is this going to end? When is this going to come to a conclusion? Because I'm stuck in a cave, I'm quarantined, I don't know where my food's coming from. This is rough. So David, he writes this, even though he's been through these things. He writes this passage in Psalm chapter 16, verse 11. He says, "You show me the path of life, and in you, joy is the fullness of joy. You have shown me the path of life, and in you is the fullness of joy." Let me say it one more time. You show me the path of life, God, and in you is the fullness of joy. David said the fullness of joy isn't located in a cave or in a castle. It's not located in my position, my poverty, my prosperity. The fullness of joy is located in my Heavenly Father. So where is it found? It's in God. The fullness of joy is literally in His presence. In your presence is the fullness of joy. That's what he says. So if we want to find joy, we have to go to the presence of God to find it. The reason we are joyless or we're struggling to find happiness or contentment or good vibes is that we are chasing imitation joy. Let me try an illustration. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but I've talked about my love for pizza. And so I'm just going to take this real quick. I have a Papa John's pizza right here, okay? And I'm just going to pretend that this is the fullness of joy, okay? Let's just substitute God's the fullness of joy. I know it's probably sacrilegious, but let's say Papa John's pizza is the fullness of joy. It's located in Papa John's pizza. If I want joy, I have to go to Papa John's pizza. The problem is there are so many other pizzas out there. There's your local pizza, right? There's your local pizza that's always in some box that says pizza on it, right? And it's like, well, that looks like joy. That looks the same as Papa John's. It's got the sauce, the cheese, the pepperoni. It's got the stuff that I want. And so I've got that. And then you've got, Pizza Hut pizza. And it's like, well, that looks like joy. That's similar to the Papa John's pizza. It's got everything that it needs. A different chain, different branch, different kind of idea, but it tastes a little bit like it, and it's similar. And then you got, Domino's pizza, and you're like, well, Domino's pizza, that's good pizza. That looks like joy to me. Let me try that pizza, and I think I'll probably get some joy out of that pizza. And then maybe even some of you are so desperate for joy, there's gas station pizza. And you're like, well, I'm going to try the gas station pizza because that looks like joy, and I'm going to chase after that. The problem is, none of these things are what you were designed for to give you joy. These weren't designed to give you joy. You were designed to find joy in Papa John's pizza. And so only Papa John's pizza will give you true joy. The rest will give you a little bit of happiness, a little bit of contentment, a little bit of feeling of joy, a little bit of that was nice, but they won't last. And of course, we don't actually believe this about pizza. We do this with other things. And so I wrote some of those things down here. In this pizza, I wrote the word circumstances. Like I said, these are not high quality videos, okay? So just, if you can read it, great. If not, I'm really sorry. But it says circumstances. And see, we put our hope in circumstances and we think, well, if I can just line everything up the way that I want it to line up, if I can just get the job to work out and the thing to work out and the lifestyle to work out, and if I can get everything in order and organized and get it just the way I like it, then I'll be happy with the good vibes. Well, we've seen these last couple of weeks that circumstances can change in an instant, which is why circumstances don't make for a good source of joy. Because circumstances can change at the drop of a hat, which is why if you're counting on circumstances to make you happy and bring you good vibes, you're always going to be nervous. You're always going to have anxiety and fear and worry in your life because you know that it can go away in an instant. So we can't count on circumstances. Another imitation joy that we oftentimes put our hope in is this one. We put our hope in success and stuff. And we think, well, if I can just get enough money, I can have enough security that everything will be fine. If I can just get enough stuff, or if I can just prove to everybody that I'm successful, then I'll be respected and they'll like me. But once again, we know that this is so temporary. If you're putting your hope in stuff and in finances and in success, you know that it can be taken away at an instant. So once again, you have to live with fear and worry. And there's never enough. So you got to keep going and going and going, and there's no contentment and no joy in that. And then finally, another really big imitation joy that we chase after a lot of times is this one. we chase after relationships. And we think, well, if I get the right relationship, then everything's going to work out just fine. If I can get the right husband, if I can get the right wife, if I can get another husband or a new wife, or if I can get rid of my old husband, get rid of my old wife, or get rid of the current one, or if I can just figure out my ex, if I can just, find a date, if I can just get the right friends, then I'm going to be happy with the good vibes. I'm going to have the joy that I need. And we don't actually say that. We just think it. We go chasing these things thinking, man, as soon as I figure that one out, the relationship category, that's all I need. And that's the reason I'm upset. That's the reason I'm not happy. That's the reason I'm not feeling joy and good vibes. It's because of the relationship. No, the truth is, the reason that you're not feeling and that I'm not feeling, that I get discouraged and joyless, is because I put my hope in imitation joys. The reality is that Papa John's Pizza, if this is where joy is found, in the presence of Papa John's Pizza, then only Papa John's Pizza will actually give me joy. So I've got to run to it. Now that's a stupid illustration, but maybe it's helpful. And my hope for you is that you run to the source of joy this week. And there's a passage in Habakkuk, and it's chapter 3, verse 17 and 18. You can go read it yourself, but basically it says, listen, if all my crops are gone, if there's nothing in the storehouse, if I've lost everything, if nothing good is going on, I have no circumstances that I used to have that made me happy or content, even then, God, I'm going to rejoice in you. And that's our challenge right now, because a lot of things aren't going the way we thought they would go. But here's the really good news. I said this was going to be good news. I said I'm calling this good vibes, but here's the good news. If God is the source of joy, if in His presence is the fullness of joy, that means that no quarantine can stop it, that no stay-at-home order can limit it, that no amount of poverty can push it down, that those who have riches have no more access to it than I do, than you do. This means that at any time, at any place, anywhere, ever, no matter what's going on, you have access to joy. The fullness of joy. You and me, we can get it. It's right there sitting in front of us. All we have to do is access it by going to the source, by going to God and say, God, I want to be joyful. I want your joy in my life. Can I have it? Will you share it with me? God, I want to connect with you. And maybe some of you listening, you've never done that before. Or you've thought, I don't even know where to start. I don't know where to begin. If that's you, you can actually email info@newvintagechurch.com, newvintage.org, info@newvintage.org, and they will respond to you and let you know some ways that you can connect with God. But before I go, I want to tell you how you can do this. And maybe you've done this a lot in your life. Maybe you haven't. Maybe you're new. But honestly, this week, when you have some time, I just want you to commit to saying, God, I'm going to come before you. I'm going to put everything else down. I'm going to stop chasing contentment in other ways. Stop chasing joy in other ways. Stop chasing happiness through the things I have or the things I do. And God, I just want to get alone with you. I just want to ask, if you're really the source of joy, if it's really in your presence, will you share it with me? I've never even done this before, God, but some guy on some video said you're the source of joy. And so I'm coming to you. I need it. I'm feeling anxious. I'm feeling scared. I'm feeling concerned. And God, I need your joy. Would you give it to me? Would you share it with me? And I want you to do that every day. I want you to go before Him and say, God, I don't know if you are, but you say you are. David said you are. He was in quarantine. He asked for your joy. So God, will you share your joy with me? And I want you to hound Him. I want you to go after Him. I want you to get in the presence of your Heavenly Father who loves you, who knows what you need. I think this season right now, He would love for us to come running back to Him, to come running to Him on a daily basis, saying, God, I put my joy and I chased my joy in all those imitations that are out there, in my success, in my circumstances, in my relationships, in my substances, in the vices and addictions that got out of hand. But God, I'm putting that all to the side. And I want to chase you. And I want your joy. And when I'm done with this quarantine, when I leave this stay-at-home order someday, God, would you help me to know with confidence that you and you alone are my source of joy. So we'll live differently, and we don't have to be consumed with worry and doubt, anxiety and fear and nervousness, that all those other imitation joys are going to go away. This week, I want you to go to the source of joy. And I want you, despite our circumstances, I want you to get you some joy, some real, lasting joy. Have a great week. Go get you some joy. Don't you give up. I'll see you.